Now let us go to the next one. So now let us make it fast now. This one is 0 volt. Okay, and also this one is 0 volt. Both are connected to the ground. Okay, this one is also 0 volt. Why? Because it's connected to the ground. This one is 0 volt. 0 volt. Okay, so once we see the ground, we know the voltage. Okay, let's go to the one at the top. If this is 0, this side is 0, this one is 20 volt. 20 volt. Because the voltage source is 20. If you go to the right, if this one is 0, this one is 5 volt. Why? Because the voltage source is 5. Okay. Then next, what else we know? Okay, we know, for example, that this one is 20 now. This one is 10, and this one is 5. That will be easy for me to calculate V1 and V2. Why? Because V1 is the left side, which is 20. This is 20 minus 10. So the positive side minus the negative side, which is 10 volt. So this one is 10 volt. So V1 equal 20 from the left minus 10 in the right. That will be 10 volt. V2 equal what? Equal 10 in the left minus 5 in the right. So it will be 5 volt. 5 volt. Okay. What's remaining? We need to calculate I. We need to calculate this current. For sure, I is the same. This I is the same. I. You have 3 I's, but they are the same. Because we do not have any dividing or splitting point. You do not have any dividing point here. Remember, what is a dividing point? Dividing point, if you have a node, that this is a node that has 3 or more branches connected or intersect. So all these I are the same. So you can calculate I anywhere. Of course, you can calculate I using Ohm's law now. Okay, so you can calculate I using Ohm's law. But where? I don't know. Let's see. For example, can I calculate it using 2 ohm? Yes, because I know the voltage. The voltage is 10. Okay, the voltage is 10. Okay, and the resistance is 2. Right? Then this makes I equal what? 10 divided by 2. That's 5 ampere. 5 ampere. That's it. 10 divided by 2 is 5 ampere. Okay, what's next? I need to calculate R also here. See this R. So we need to apply Ohm's law again. What is the voltage? The voltage is 5 volt. Okay. What is the current? The current, we just calculate the current. The current is 5 ampere. This is the current that we just calculated here. This is the current, 5 ampere. I is 5 ampere. So now can I calculate the resistance R? Yes, R equal what? Equal voltage divided by current. Voltage divided by current. 5 divided by 5 is 1. Then R equal 1. R equal 1. Now let's go to the last one. Okay, let's see the last one. The last one is the same here. This is 0. As I said, this one is 0. But what is the current? Okay, what is the voltage here? I don't know. Because this is not a voltage source. So remember, this is a current source. It's not a voltage source. So what is the voltage here? I don't know. I don't know. How can I calculate this? I don't know. A big question mark. Okay, so let us think about something else. Let's see what is given. What do we know? Okay. This is a current source. If we have a current source here, then we know the current. Then we know that this current is I equals 3 ampere. I equals 3 ampere. This I equal 3 ampere. Okay, I equals 3 ampere. Why? Because we know this from the current source. If the current source is 3 ampere, then the current is 3. So we know I. Okay, so now if we know I, then what we know? What else we know? If this I is 3 ampere, okay. So now let's see. If I is 3 ampere, can you calculate V1? Yes. V1 equal what? Use Ohm's law again. The resistance is 2 and the current is 3. Then the voltage 6 volt. The voltage is 6 volt. So there is this. The voltage is 6 volt. Let me write it here in red. Okay. And let's change back to blue. Now, what about V2? So we can do the same. Okay. The resistance is 5. The current is 3. Then now we can say that the voltage is 3 times 5, which is 15. So the voltage is 15 volt. So V2 is 15 volt. Okay, next. What about I? I is a 10 ohm. Okay, so we can also apply Ohm's law again. And then we can write the values in blue. So the current is 3. And the resistance is 10. Okay, so what's the voltage? The voltage will be 3 times 10, which is 30 volt. See, we get a lot of information now. So we know that the voltages across all elements. We know that the voltage is 30, the voltage is 15, the voltage is 6. So we know that the voltages are given here. We can calculate Vs in different way. Number one, we can say that, for example, let me erase this, select all, and then erase this. We can say that, okay, if we have only one source, it makes sense that Vs equal what? The voltage across the source is the voltages across all elements. Makes sense. Okay, you have one source and you have one element has 30 volt, one element has 15, one element has 6. So you can add them. 6 volt plus 15 plus 30 volt. So it is 6 plus 15 is 21 plus 30 is 51 volt. 51 volt. So this is one way to do it. It's one way to do it. Okay. The other way is to do what? Is to just look at the nodes. Look at the individual nodes. So you know, for example, that you have these elements here. It look like this, the circuit. Okay, and then you have the source here. This is the source. And let me write this in red. So I know that this one is 0. Okay, 0 volt. So if I know the voltage here, I can calculate the voltage Vs, this Vs. But I don't know the voltage here. I don't know the voltage here. But I know that the voltage at this point is 0. So this voltage here is 0. Let me put a pointer here. Highlight or laser pointer. Okay, and then go back. Then the voltage at this point is 0. If the voltage at this point is 0, the voltage here will be what? Will be 30. The voltage here will be 30. Why it's 30? Because I know that the voltage between these 2 points is 30 volt. If the voltage across this 10 ohm is 30 volt, then if this one is 0, this one will be 30. Makes sense. Okay? Now, next, I know that the voltage between these 2 points, this one and this one, is what? Is, let's see, is 15 volt. it is 15 volt. So it is 15 volt here. 15 volt. This is positive and this is negative. Okay? So this means what? Means that if this one is 30, the voltage here will be 45. Make sense? If the difference is 15, so if this one is 30, this one is 15. This one is 45. Why? Because 45 minus 30 is 15 volt. So this is another way. Okay? 45 minus 15 minus 30 is 15. Someone can say, okay, why it is not 50? It is 35, not 15, because 15, the difference between 15 and 30 is 15 also. Because this one is higher. This point is positive. So this point is higher. Okay, so it is higher than 30 by 15. Next, if you look at the last element, it is 6 volt. You see, it's 6 volt. So it's 6 volt here. And this one is negative, this one is positive. Okay, so if this one is 45, this one will be what? Will be 51. Now we can see 51 minus 45 is 6. Okay. Finally, Vs equal what? Equal 51 minus 0, which is 51. So this is another way to calculate Vs. You either calculate the voltages across elements. You can say 6 plus 15 plus 30, or you can calculate it in this way. It's up to you.